Hey, welcome back to another episode of Essentially Heroes Cast, the cast with the most. We back,
Welcome
y'all.
back, amazing people.
Welcome. It has
I
been
missed you
a
guys.
time.
Good to see you all again. I feel like,
Hey,
you know what? I'm so happy we getting there. We getting there. We getting there to 1,000, and I feel it. So thank you guys for supporting us and joining us.
oh snap. I keep forgetting, like we like right there. That's crazy. Um,
Welcome back, everybody.
yes. So today we are coming at y'all with more of a review. So as y'all know, there's a specific movie that's taken over the airwaves lately, that's taken over the cinemas, that's taken over the world. And
Dominating.
here we
So,
are at we are dominating, and here we are at the precipice. The fans been waiting for this for a minute. There's been highs, there's been lows, there's been everything in between, but we are here to talk about the latest greatest superhero action movie that there is, Black Adam. Let's go.
let's go. Let's
He actually he called me. He called me. He called me. I know that was a joke, right? Right?
Yeah, we
wrong
talk.
black
No,
movie.
okay. All right. Yeah, I
Yeah, he
switched
called
around a
me.
word.
He called
That's
me.
all right. So actually, we're talking about the Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever.
Hey. All right. So yes, we gonna get into it. We're gonna get into all the nitty gritty of it. But before we jump in, like, comment, subscribe, do all the bloody beautiful YouTube
Exactly.
things.
That bell button so you know when we're uploading, so you don't miss our
Mhm.
beautiful, handsome faces.
All that.
All that.
Yeah, what he said, all that. And yeah, so we watched this what, like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, about
Yeah, it was the opening weekend. Not we watched it.
Yeah. And so yeah, we've all had, I guess, a little bit more time to like resonate on the movie and like collect our thoughts with it.
first thing right off the bat. This was the biggest black movie I saw this year, and straight up, they weren't the slaves. Tired of that narrative.
Yeah. Yo, I'm so tired of, like, I mean, we don't have to get into it too deep, but you're right. Like there is like this huge trend of like the black movie has to be like the saddest like shit you ever seen. Yeah, and so movies like this, like sci-fi, like fantasy, focused on like black characters that we can relate to in that way. Like that's way more what we need. So right
Yeah.
off the bat, it's a very important movie. And I've been saying this for a minute. Even when the first one came out, the first Black Panther movie, it wasn't like a perfect movie, but it was an important movie to have.
Yeah.
So yeah, so coming into this one, I wasn't even sure what to expect from it either, because of course, we lost the late great Chadwick Boseman, who played T'Challa, Black Panther. And so having lost the Black Panther, like the main character, I was like, how is this even going to work at all? And they had pretty much already finished the script for this movie by the time that Chadwick had passed. So they basically had to like rebuild this movie from the ground up to like work within that. And so just with that amount of, oh, and then on top of that, COVID happened as well.
Yeah.
So that already like just completely just shifted everything.
But
as
there was a
well.
lot of elements working against this. Movie.
Yes. So I like going into this, I really just had no clue what to expect. And yeah, I mean, I guess just to start off with the positives, like coming into it, it kind of assured me immediately. It's like, yes, we suffered this loss, and yes, we went through these hardships, but you're in for like a good story. Like he kind of assured me of that, like right off the bat.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, if there's one thing it didn't feel like anything dragged on. You know, it was a good story to watch. It's a long movie. It's
Yeah, it's about
over
2 hours.
2 hours.
40
It's
minutes.
it's over 2 hours, and never once did I get like, oh man, like it really felt like it was really nicely timed, and again, Ryan Coogler really executed his skills as a director. It was well placed, the story.
Talk about the intro.
What happened?
Talk about the intro of the movie, because I liked your take when we talked about a few days ago.
The first 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I hope this isn't spoilers, but when they were
I mean, so we're definitely gonna have to get into some spoilers for this.
Spoiler warning.
So spoiler warning. Like, yeah, I wasn't sure how we were gonna do that. If we're gonna do like a spoiler free half or a spoiler half, but
we're like 3 weeks in now, so
yeah, okay,
but,
all right, cool.
Yeah, talk about the funeral in the very beginning, because you're talking about how it translated real life into the MCU. Like, you had an interesting take on that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna dive more into that. I will say the first 2 minutes it's definitely very heavy. It's probably more than 2 minutes. But yeah, no, it was very, very emotional. Those first couple of minutes of the movie, because we know what it comes to. And I'm going to, dive, because like I said, it hit me emotionally, but that it's something that I slept on, and we're going to dive a little more into how I felt about the 2 minutes a little later on. But yeah, I do think, like I said, it was something that really touched people. Like I almost cried, because we knew where that was going. I do like how they try to weave the story into, losing the herb, and at least at first I liked it, and how that related to his death. But yeah, he in the movie he dies of an unknown illness, and we could piece the two and two together. They don't really go into detail. They sort of make us come to our own conclusion onto what that illness was, and we all know that conclusion. But yeah, it was very heavy. Angela Bassett did her thing. I thought it was crazy. It started off chaotic for us, just really trying to figure out how to save him. I think that was what really hurt. They're trying to figure out how to save him, and we know already, like, yeah, he's not going to be saved.
Right.
So.
It's crazy because with the comics, Wakanda can cure any disease. So
yeah,
like the MCU is really going on their own path when it comes to the story and how they're recreating these characters.
Yeah.
There was a line in the movie where Shuri said that T'Challa, he didn't say what was wrong with him until it was kind of too late to help him.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of how they justify it. It's like they could have, but there was something like keeping him from sort of going out and, getting that help, which, of course, parallels how Chadwick didn't tell anybody that he was ill, and we only found out after the fact. So, there's like parallel there as well. But yeah, so basically the movie, opens up with that, and then it kind of gets us into a year after that happened, and sort of exploring what the lives of the characters have become since then. So we're seeing like how Shuri is dealing with it. We're seeing how the Queen Ramonda is dealing with it. The supporting
that's basically
characters.
what that's basically what it's the main context of the movie. It's about how these characters are in Wakanda, for the most part, are dealing with grief. That is a sub story and a huge plot, because it's not necessarily the main plot of the story, but that really is the main plot. The main plot of the story really is the war between Namor's people, or I'll just call him Namor for the movie purposes, because he's still Namor in my book. But it's about the effect of vibranium, the effect that it has on different civilizations, really, and how that causes two nations that really thrive off vibranium, how it causes these guys to clash as the world finds more out about vibranium. Vibranium. Am I saying it right? Vibranium?
Yeah, vibranium.
Vibranium, sorry.
Yeah. How you good?
I'm gonna call you out, France. Why you going after vibranium?
What happened?
Enough?
Exactly. Yeah. Because that's another thing, is that aside from the characters having to deal with, having lost T'Challa, the world is like targeting them now as well, because they're like, oh, the king is dead, so we could just swoop in and kind of do what we want. So, France is, I guess, one of the first, or I guess one of the last to come in and try to like swipe vibranium and catch a come up.
And that court scene when Queen Mother, when she was up in there and she's like, yeah, we know y'all looking through our stuff. We know. This is a warning. Just because T'Challa's out, that don't mean we weak.
Hey, who the hell is T'Challa?
I was like, that gave me goosebumps.
And that's another thing, is I like how they're kind of, so, what a good sequel should always do is take what was set up in the previous movie and expand on it, and add on to what it started. And so in the previous movie, it ended with T'Challa starting this initiative to sort of globalize Wakanda a little bit, do outreach, let people in on the existence of vibranium in order to, help push society forward. And, while of course that's going to have some positives down the line, it's also going to come with the negatives as well. And this is one of those negatives is, countries just trying to make weapons. Like, of course, that's, inevitable. And so I like how we're seeing sort of, the bad side of it, but we also do get to see the good side of it as well, in terms of, so for example, the outreach programs that were done, which is why, I'm jumping forward a little bit here. But, when Shuri and Riri meet for the first time, like Riri knows who she is because, they have that outreach. Like Shuri's been in the communities, helping pull these, young kids up and, helping them, achieve their potential. So I like how the movie takes those like threads and kind of like pulls them along to like a new place in the movie.
Yeah. No, I gotta say I appreciated that about that movie as well.
We didn't see enough Wakanda. Am I wrong? I feel like we only saw it when it was like for the pivotal action scenes.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk more about that when we get into the cons, for sure, because I also had that issue a little bit as well. But I have to say, one of the best villain openings I've seen in an MCU movie in a long time. Like the way they introduced Namor and his people. I forgot what do they call it? It's not Atlantis.
It's the Telokans.
Telokan.
Yeah, Telokans. Because the city is Telokon. That's why they're Telokans. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way they introduced it, and it was really good. What do they call Namor in that? What was his
I think they call it Kukulkan. Kukulkan,
which was so good, and I just appreciate. I I really appreciated that about this movie. And
Yeah.
I gotta say, before I watched this movie, I listened to the soundtrack. And the soundtrack had so many had such a Latin vibe to it. It's like the soundtrack, I'm like, oh, this is every Afro-Latino's dream right now. It's like Afro beats, Spanish beats, and some songs just blending them together. So I already knew, like, oh my God, this is the route they're really gonna go with Namor. I am so fucking here for it. So I already went into this movie just really excited to see how this character really works, and you know, just to see a depiction of a Latin country and culture just done right. And a fun fact, I am of Mayan descent, so it really was really I just felt like it was just both aspects of my some part of my culture just being represented, and I really appreciated that about this film.
And that brings us to today's sponsor, 23andMe. No, I'm joking.
That's actually no, I found out I'm prepared for you, bum.
Freaking, I love the way they gave so much context to how he became, you know.
Yeah, no, and I so appreciate that.
That was the first time I ever seen a movie that showcased Spaniards whipping indigenous folk. I don't think I've seen a movie like that. Of course, you have those ignorant cowboy and Indian movies.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He's more like a refined version of Killmonger. You know?
You could say that, yeah.
He really is. And when we talk about the cons, we'll get into more of his actions, because again, like, just like there's always just that one action that a character does, especially in these Black Panther movies, that will just totally like, okay, that's the line. And I want to fuck with it Namor so much, but it's like a part of me just can't. We'll get more into that. But with that said, I do love how they had, you know, a good contrast of how they gave us a good taste of how Talokan is, you know, given it its own culture, how they use vibranium, and it was just really cool. You know how like Wakanda's got this, they got this, and I really just like that like contrast. You know,
and
so
like that was pretty much the message.
Oh yeah. So no,
like there's so many like parallels between them, and even in terms of, and that's why in the comics like T'Challa and Namor are such great rivals, is because there's like they kind of hate each other, but there's so much about each other that's similar that like they kind of can't help but, you know, team up sometimes, because they're like I hate you, but you're just like me, and that's and I hate that. And then, I mean, while we're on Namor as well, so I'm not one of those people who likes to, you know, hate on MCU movies just because it's not exactly what I want. But that being said, you know, this phase in particular, phase 4, and, you know, also in other parts of, I guess, the MCU chronology as well, like, they haven't done the antagonists that well, and I feel like we've like more lately than previously, like we've got a string of like really weak antagonists. So you know, in the Black Widow movie, like just really dull. Most of the Disney Plus shows, not really too much going on there in terms of antagonists. You know, and so to see them doing one, I see you thinking over there, and you're trying to like, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to Namor, I'm glad that they just managed to really like just bring him to screen in such a way where it just felt really engaging to watch. You're like, okay, they took the best parts of this character and translated it to the big screen. I thought that was ill.
I just want to say, just to play devil's advocate, not really. I feel like Phase 4 has given us some pretty interesting villains, and like more realistic villains. We got, the Green Goblin again, and he did his shit in Spider-Man. In Multiverse of Madness, Wanda was the main villain. She did her shit, making these characters really dimensional. I feel like we got more dimensional villains in Phase 4 than what we got in the other phases.
Yeah, no, Shang-Chi's dad was one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah, see? I forgot about Shang-Chi's dad. You just reminded me of him. See? Like, he was a badass villain, too.
Etienne, he got you.
All right, you're right, yeah. So there's, we had our ups and downs. Phase 4.
We did. We did.
What surprised me is when you first saw Namor, this might sound out of pocket, but I was expecting like a white dude. Like, you know how Aquaman looks?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I only say that to say that they really were inclusive with the decision of who's gonna act as Namor, and like.
No, I really like where they went with him. I really did.
I'm like, DC, you could take notes with Aquaman in regard.
And I like that they kept his mutant abilities and and him being a mutant, because
he made a reference
in the comics. He was the first mutant to be like unveiled. Unfortunately, in the MCU, our first mutant is Miss Marvel. Ha! No, I'm joking. But
no, you're not.
I'm not.
Come on, man, she's popping.
I really appreciated that. And as we also talk about new characters that we could appreciate, I also appreciated Riri Williams in this movie too. I really thought she was, I really thought her character was like a breath of fresh air. You have these other characters who are in a state of grieving, and she's just a breath of fresh air, adding some comedy and doing her thing. So I really appreciated that. I also appreciate how they made her story almost nearly shadow Tony Stark's story.
Yeah.
It was very similar, her making this invention, finding out that the government is using her invention against her own will, realizing that her invention is being used for fucked up purposes, just like Tony Stark,
and it highlights that, her genius was used by the government to exploit the resources of another land's genius. It's like,
and that's the same thing that happened in Iron Man 1. So I like how they did that. Like, okay, I see what they're doing. She gotta make a machine to escape somewhere to escape, because people after her. It's the same thing like Tony. They also paid homage to Tony Stark when she was flying in the air and she lost oxygen. The same thing happened to Tony Stark. So I like how they did little things like that. It almost thought it was getting a little glossed over a little too much, but she does have a show coming out. So I feel like they did just enough where it's like, I really want to see where she goes with her show. And I'm really excited to see where her show goes, because she was a really interesting character. I did feel like she fizzled out in the movie, but
a little overshadowed. Yeah,
I feel like the writing with her does get a little messy in the movie, and like I said, when we talk about the cons, we'll talk more about that. But other than that, I really enjoyed her. I really enjoyed her energy.
Yeah, likewise. I loved how she encapsulated how Americans would act, especially Black Americans. You could clearly see the difference in the interactions between, is this a spoiler? The new Black Panther and her.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, I gotta say, I also love the job Letitia White did as Black Panther. I gotta say, there was just this energy of regalness that she had with her. Like from like the way she dressed, the way she carried herself. Like all the time when I saw her, I'm like, yo, she is. Look, she's the princess of a nation. You just felt the regalness with her when she's walking in the streets, and
her fits were the best of the entire movie.
Oh man,
when she was just chilling, like doing the regular, yo, she was rocking like full bodysuits, but they're
Yeah.
like something, you know, our generation would rock. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like she had like some pair of Nikes I had never seen before in my life. I'm like, they had to have made that just for the movie. Like,
They did.
that's-
I watched the commercial on it. They did.
that's
are they
crazy.
selling those?
Fire. Fire.
I was asking for a friend.
Literally, what are those? I need to know.
One last thing I have to say about Shuri was that I liked sort of the path that they were taking her down in the movie, which we'll probably continue talking about that in the cons, because I'm pretty sure you have some thoughts about that as well. But no, not even like I'm completely open to it. But yeah, for me, I felt like I liked how they weren't really forcing her to be a hero, you know,
Sure.
like that, like, because she's lost so much during the course of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like she lost her brother, she lost her mom, her country is about to get destroyed. Pretty much everything is falling apart for her. And
Yeah.
so they let her be angry, and they let her be vengeful, and they let her, you know, want the things that any other person will want, which is revenge, you know?
Right.
And so, you know, I like that they didn't force her to, you know, be on some Spider-Man shit. Like,
I love
we
how
gotta
they
save
did. Yeah.
everybody type,
It wasn't that. I do like the emotional arc that Siri went on. I can say it wasn't that black and white. It wasn't just a sudden like, oh, I gotta be the Black Panther. Like, it was really an internal battle to get there, and I do appreciate that. And I also appreciate the fact that it was Killmonger that she saw when she took the herb for the first time.
I love
it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I love that how in her accepting herself, she accepted her ancestors and their rituals, and she recreated the herb in order to get that connection with Killmonger. And she wasn't expecting him. Everyone was expecting T'Challa or, you know, someone that wasn't Killmonger.
But
it was perfect. It just aligned so well, because there's a saying, in times of war, you have to call upon your ancestors that were known for war, and Killmonger was a warmonger.
I mean, no, and that's the thing. It does go into a really quick side note into deep spirituality. Deep spirituality is about, you know, really knowing your ancestors and all of your ancestors. You know, it's like there are some ancestors who may have not done the best deeds, but, you know, it's like they may have the knowledge that you need in this situation. So, and that makes a lot of sense. So,
Michael B. Jordan, you know, as much,
you know,
as he can give, you know, a regular performance, he killed those 10 minutes.
Yeah, no.
He said, "Are you gonna get shit done like me?"
Yeah.
That just gave me like goosebumps.
Yeah, and I guess Michael B. Jordan's character, I guess Killmonger went to heaven because motherfucker had fresh white on, hair done. I'm like, this motherfucker really chilling in the afterlife? Like, I'm really confused right now.
You know, the MCU, man, is a different universe.
Nah, Killmonger rotting in there. You bugging out.
Yeah.
Not in that drip.
I mean, I do have some questions about
the
afterlife situation, which I'll probably get into in the negatives, because I have some thoughts about that as well. But so yes, so now we can officially get into the negatives of the movie, the cons. So where we starting?
Let's talk about the beginning, because that's what I want to talk about. So yeah,
I gotta say, no, yeah, I if there's one thing I gotta say, it's not even like a pro or a con. I felt like when I left that movie, I felt like I was emotionally and just like heavy. I was like, oh, shit, damn. I felt, you know, there was so much emotional weight I felt on my energy watching.
Yeah,
I agree with you. That
right,
movie,
I was like, whoo.
Like, I don't think any superhero movie had me feeling like this was.
I'm not saying that. I know we just said cons. I don't know. That's not a pro or a con. It's not even a con really, but
Yeah,
I will
a
say,
neutral.
one of the things that I really reflected on it was the way they handled Black Panther's death. Like, I understand, you work with what you got, and I just felt like it was a little too much having Black Panther's death reflect exactly how Chad died. So that was a little grievance that, like, I felt I had. I was just like, you use what you have to, but for it, when it starts going against the actual continuity of Wakanda and everything, that's when it's just like,
Yeah.
because it still never makes sense. Like a king of Wakanda dying of an illness in Wakanda, the most advanced civilization, it still won't make that much sense to me.
I agree with you on that. It was tough seeing his mural. The artist who made that mural of Chadwick, amazing. But it was, oh man, it was just every scene in the beginning just kept hitting me and hitting me. It was like a buildup, and for me, I'm just like, damn, I didn't want to start the movie just straight into sadness. Like I understand the gravity of the situation, the real life actor translating into the MCU, but damn, I usually think of the Black Panther movie as like a celebration or like a party you're going to,
Let me ask you guys this, gentlemen. Were you guys like team recast T'Challa?
I mean, I think a new person deserves that role, honestly, because that mantle is always forever, open at some point. It's not always going to be the same exact person.
I mean, I do feel like they definitely have to get a new T'Challa at some point. I feel like for right now, it's fine that they didn't recast him because it just would have been too clashing with, all the emotions that people have about it.
It definitely would have been more chaos behind everything. I'm not gonna hold you. I was team recast T'Challa. I was
for this movie.
I mean, even for this movie, yeah, I was like, even if it means us not getting a Black Panther for like another 4 years, I was okay with that. I just feel like the importance of Black Panther and his character and what he represents, T'Challa, what he represents, is important, and it goes beyond just one person. May Chadwick rest in peace, and may his performance as Black Panther never be forgotten. It was just as soon as I knew that they weren't going to recast him, I already knew that this wasn't going to be the true Black Panther movie that I wanted it to be. And that's just really a fact. As soon as we found out he died, we knew this movie wasn't going to be the true movie we wanted it to be. So I will always commend Ryan Coogler for dealing with the cards that he had, but I always just felt like I was always looking forward to okay, how is his death going to be? I'm really curious as to how creative his death is going to be. Did he go on to some mission into another dimension or in space? And I was really, really just excited to see how where they were going to go. If you're going to give T'Challa a death, and it has to be a death that's going to be talked about. Let's see if this death is going to be legendary. So when it was a death that was that really reflected real life, where it just brought me back in and just unpeeling that Band-Aid, because his death was a really painful one. And just unpeeling that Band-Aid, I just felt like, this was just that one. It was just
it's the lines of shock value,
Yeah, I knew from I knew it was gonna be heavy, but that was really heavy, and I don't know. I knew as soon as I finished, I don't know how I felt about it, and I was like, oh damn. I don't know if I needed that type of emotional damage.
Yeah,
I don't know if I needed that.
yeah, because I agree, because you know, rest in peace to our friend Adrian. We lost a friend to cancer, so it's like
Yeah.
that movie kind of took me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, for sure. No, I definitely got like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like, dang, so yeah. Like I said, I do commend Ryan for doing what he did, because it was still very, you could tell it was written and directed with passion.
Yeah.
Another thing that really pissed me off. This really pissed me off. But when Ramondo, what's her name?
Yeah, I think it's Ramonda.
When Ramonda died, that actually pissed me off. Like, I actually was just like, come on. Like, that's literally like, come on. I just personally just didn't felt like that was needed. I didn't felt like Siri's character needed that. Like, I didn't feel like she needed another death. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, low-key, I feel like Angela Bassett was just like, all right, I'm done with these movies. Like, just write me off, because I got other stuff to do. Like, you know how it is with these big actors. Like, you get a certain number of movies, and that's all you get.
No, I totally agree. But it just felt, it was already a heavy movie. So when she was lost too, it was just like, damn. And it was crazy because they said this about Killmonger's character, which I didn't really agree with, where he killed his girlfriend. Oh, they just have a character do something fucked up just so he can finally not like the character. Da, 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 da. I'm like, no. I think it made sense that like that Killmonger did that. But in the Namor situation, I just felt like it just didn't make sense, So I was upset that she died. I was upset that it was Namor that did it, because I want to like his character so fucking much, and I want to like root for him. But I'm just like, you just took Queen Mother out. Like, now I just cannot really fuck with you.
I mean, but the Wakandans drew first blood. That's the thing,
Yeah,
and this was another thing.
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
That was another thing that sort of just
bring her back.
And this is why I say, like, there was some things where the writing to me was just a little off, where there was just some things that just didn't make sense to me, because Okoye, she's stabbing them. She stabbed one of them through the stomach with vibranium, and they're all getting up like nothing.
I think it's like,
then you got Akira that comes in. She shoots him with some joint on the shoulder,
and blast,
and she dies.
Yeah. So I would say, yeah.
So it's like, so Wakandans apparently have weapons that can kill
Talokans.
Talokans. They apparently
I was about to say Namorians.
Kill Talokans.
I know, right?
I say it. They apparently have weapons that could take them out. So how are they really bodying them like that?
Yeah. So
that's where like the it just didn't like.
Yeah, it's not like 100% clear, but throughout the movie, I was sort of like, I guess, looking through the logistics of it for myself. So like, for example, like when Okoye first fights those guys on the bridge, and then she stabs them, and then they survive, and then they bring it up in the movie. She's like, I killed them and they got back up. I took that to mean like, oh, their physiology, allows them to survive, more like different types of wounds than a normal human would, which makes sense. Like, they live at the bottom of the ocean, like they're literally built different. Like, there's massive pressure that's like crushing them constantly. Like, it's, so I can get behind that. And then when Nakia comes in, I'm assuming that she's been debriefed on the situation, so she just came in with a stronger weapon that will just like kill them like in a more efficient way, like how in the Luke Cage show, the Judas bullet that they use on him that like pierces his skin and can like do a fatal wound. Like I'm assuming that they just upped the arsenal, which makes sense because for Nakia, it's literally her job. Like the queen said, like to get her back, I don't care like what you have to do, like get her back. So so at least for me, that's how I logicked it out. But they didn't like explain that like to that degree in the movie. You're right.
Because that just didn't necessarily make any sense to me. I'm like, wait, she's not dying. She's not dying. But it was just like, oh, we need to make certain things happen for writing purposes. So Takolin can't die. I'm probably butchering the name, but fuck it. But Takolin can't die here. That can't happen in this scene. But now Takolin can die here. This is where they can die, so this can happen. And it's just like it just gets messy at that point.
Yeah, no, at the end, like they're like butchering them, like Shuri and Riri is flying in, like murking them left and right. Like, so at a certain point, like the lines do get sort of blurry as to like, you know, what's happening here and there. And then, you know, at the end, you know, and I always hate when they do this in movies where, you know, the main character is like murking people left and right, taking out goons, like, you know, just destroying them. Then they get to the boss and it's like, no, I'm better than that. Like, it's like you already did all this, like you might as well, like, but
in the final fight,
I was a bit confused how Wakanda couldn't properly defend itself. Like I understood like the,
you know why they couldn't properly defend themselves, Vic? Because they decided to take the fight to them, to go to the middle of the ocean.
Oh my God, dude.
It's like that to me baffled me, bro. I was like, wait,
that shit didn't make any
what?
sense.
We're gonna take the fight to them. We're gonna set up a ship in the middle of the fucking ocean where they dominate the fucking ocean. It's just like, why? Oh, because plot says this has to happen. Plot says this has to happen. So
can't wait. I'll play devil's advocate one more time. Okay. So
do it.
You're okay. So yes, it wasn't strategically the best move to be out in the middle of the ocean, but one, they were trying to reduce casualties of, you know, the Wakandan citizens who are already, you know, at a loss in terms of, damage to the homeland. So they're trying to keep the battle out of Wakanda as much as they can. And then Shuri's secret plan, or I guess like contingency plan, was like the desert island situation, right? To like dry him out. So I'm assuming it was like a geographical move. Like she was trying to be as close to that desert as she could in order to like scoop him there, you know, when the time came. So because he was already like, they barely made it there via the ocean because he was already pulling apart the jet and stuff. And so I feel like that was the logic behind it, was like, you know, like lure them out to this location and then be as close to this desert as we can so that we can like fight him like at his weakest type. So that's where my mind went with that. But like looking at it overall, it's still just on paper, it seems really stupid.
No, because, you know, to be honest, when I saw that, I was really expecting some joint to happen where, you know, he threatens them, give me the scientists, or I'm gonna come back and flood. They decide, I'm not gonna give you the scientists. They come and invade again. We get to see Wakanda more. We get to see them prepare for battle. We get to see whatever. You know, they come back and they do the speech with them partying in Wakanda at the end, both the Tolans and whatever. I was expecting some shit like that. You get me? So, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, what you said. I just thought it was just like, I don't know, Wakanda. That just don't, the math wasn't math to me. Like,
yeah. Also, one last thing is that they attached that sonic disruptor to the bottom of the ship, and it only would have worked in water. So that's another point that I'll give them, was that was to, I guess, actually do damage to the army, which it did. and force them above the water. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I just feel like they nearly underestimated Tolakan,
Yeah.
because
They
and
definitely
forget
did.
that's another nation that fucks with vibranium too. And I don't know, I would have stayed away from the seas. Like, we are not.
Yeah,
If they
honestly.
want this scientist, they're gonna have to come to us.
Yo,
They
Aquaman,
want
you ain't
this-
so tough. Yo, let me
Yeah.
get in the water real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, but y'all peeped. They made a Thunderbolts reference.
No, there were several, and like I said, I do like Ross and his
And I think her name is Val.
Val.
Yeah.
And if you guys been watching the Disney Plus shows and things like that, yeah, I've seen her. I thought she was a pleasant surprise to the movie. Whenever you see Val, just think Thunderbolts, because that's like what she's doing, and she's really sus, and Skrulls are coming out, and you know, her character goes crazy in the
pretty much. But I guess I would put that in the cons category for me, was that between the two of them, they felt like a little extra. Like they didn't have too much to do in the movie, the two of them. Like, because they kind of just pop in here and there to just like see what's happening.
They were the world builders. They were building
what
was to come. With Riri's character and them, they were really like
advancing.
Like I feel like they could have just like had them pop in at the end or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know, something. But this time around, it just felt like they felt obligated to have them in the movie, but it didn't really like have to be there in that way. So that was just my gripe with that. But I mean, I am glad that, you know, we're seeing them, you know, in something here, so we can be like, oh, okay, so that's what they were up to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one more kind to talk about.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I was not a fan of the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
a new Black Panther.
Yeah, I feel like they were trying to that's pretty much exactly what they were trying to do, is trying to be like yeah, we'll do like this time skip, and then 10 years from now we'll have like a brand new T'Challa, and so nobody needs to get recast. And it's like,
yeah,
I mean,
it was really just I don't know. I was like, are we gonna wait 10 years, 15, 12 like decades to get another Black Panther? I don't know. It
like they're probably gonna do something where he like gets like something with time travel, and then he just shows up and he's older. They're gonna future trunks him.
Yeah,
basically.
If they future trunks him, I mean, I guess I can't be too mad. If they future trunks him, I honestly won't be like mad.
Yeah.
He had a secret baby. I didn't even know that. That kind of threw me off.
Yeah.
I mean, low-key, I was wondering, because Nakia been gone for a minute. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happened.
He was in Haiti.
I will say another con is I feel like we didn't get enough of characters. I feel like the story, it hopped around a lot, and we didn't see like enough of, and that's probably why it also didn't feel like it dragged out for long either, because we didn't really focus too heavy on these characters. You know, we didn't focus that much on Okoye. We didn't focus that much on M'Baku. You know, I don't even think we focused that much on Shuri, because there was a lot happening.
Right.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get centered on Shuri till like the half of the movie after Ramona died. You know, so that's like probably the last 25-30 minutes of the movie when we really started to like channel in on her. So it was just really weird, you know. Like I said, I don't feel like we spent enough time in Wakanda. It was called Wakanda Forever, so I was really trying to feel like I'm walking in Wakanda, feel like I'm there. And I don't think we got enough of that, just enough of that.
Yeah, that's very true. And I feel like this is the same with Telecon too, where we really don't see too much. Like we see just like a couple glimpses of it, but we don't get a sense of like their sort of day-to-day or, you know, anything like that. Which I mean, it's not super necessary. Like it's cool to keep it a bit more mysterious, but I mean, yeah,
What we did
I
got
think
from
that
him was beautiful.
yeah, it looked pretty solid. And then yeah, I think one last thing I'll talk about is you know, it was interesting how Shuri brought up that she wasn't sure if like she didn't basically was an atheist, like she didn't believe in the afterlife or the gods or anything like that. And I'm like, bro, like, come on.
What?
You seen you seen stuff like come on.
Like, come on, yeah. Yeah.
Like you literally met Thor. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like
that's where she differentiates from her character in the comics, because in the comics her character really is like very spiritual but yet very scientific.
Yeah.
So I hope we can see that from her.
And in the comics, Bast is more of a character as well. So
true,
because she directly communicates with the Black Panther. So that's another thing. So
we did see her in the MCU though. We saw her in we saw Bast in Moon Knight, and that was cool.
Yeah,
and the Pantheons of Gods.
But yeah, man.
Watch it again.
Overall, what would y'all rate this movie?
9 out of 10, I'd say.
Same. I'll give it a 9.
I would give the movie an 8.5.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good, man.
I would give it an 8.5. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I personally don't think I could watch the movie again. I'm being very honest. It's a very heavy movie. Yeah. And I don't think it's just one of those movies that like I could just keep watching, especially the opening.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have that magic rewatch factor like the first one did for me personally. But yeah, it's still a great movie. It's still an amazing movie, and like I said, I'm not saying I won't watch it again, but I'm not gonna rush to watch it again or be like.
Believe me, man. There's a lot of real life trauma in that movie.
No, yeah, and I do feel like death is a pushing factor in that movie, and I know I'm gonna get a little deep. I'm gonna get a little like serious, but I've come to a realization that as Black people, we are constantly surrounded by death. We are constantly pushed by. A lot of us are pushed by death in real life, and I think that's what really makes this movie too real for me. And that's why I was really upset when Ramonda died. I'm sorry. That's why I was really upset when she died. And that's just like, this is just too much death. And honestly, for the next Black Panther movie, I'm hoping and praying that we get a little change. Let's fucking fight the colonizers in part 3. Yeah. Let's not fight another nation that's affected or another person that's affected by colonization, while the real bad guys just sit and watch.
I agree. To that in the movie, and sprinkles.
Yeah, but we basically got the same villain. We just got a more nicely trimmed Killmonger in this movie, which it's not horrible. I still love Namor, even though I hate his actions and I sort of want to see him, get fucked up anyway. But they're both great written villains. But if for the next Black Panther movie, I really want to just see a change where we're fighting the real source of the issue.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, I really want to see them, use this alliance for something in the MCU. And Namor and Black Panther, they're both Illuminati members, so they're definitely the ones who are, willing to, murk fools for the sake of their own.
Yeah.
So.
No, it was sad seeing these. It was really sad seeing these nations collide, like at war.
It was.
Yeah.
It was just like, damn. And I was really hoping to see more of a rekindle. I didn't see enough of that because these two communities, even in real life, battle a little bit. So I was really just expecting something that can, hopefully in the future movies we can get more of that. If there's anything that we can give a plus to the MCU, it's putting respect on, Black and Latino communities. The strongest civilizations in the MCU is Black and Latino. So that's dope. That's amazing.
The more mentioned it, he said, together we could just conquer the whole world. Remember in the beginning?
And he did say that, and that's a fact.
Yo, this movie definitely has some quotes, has some moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much what we got for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Thank y'all for watching. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Let us know what you think. And yeah, with that said, we are out of here.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.